Welcome to the Get Over Yourself podcast. This is author and athlete Brad Kearns discovering ways to be healthy, fit, and happy in hectic, high-stress modern life. So let's slow down and take a deep breath, take a cold plunge, and expertly balance that competitive intensity with an appreciation of the journey. That's the theme of the show. Here we go. The Get Over Yourself podcast is brought to you by Almost Heaven, beautiful compact home use sauna kits, ancestral supplements, grass-fed organ meats in a capsule, DNA Fit, genetic testing for custom diet and exercise recommendations, Integro Health, high-potency liquid probiotic called Flourish, Organifi, organic powdered superfoods, delicious green, gold, and red powders, Wild Idea Buffalo, sustainable, grass-fed, beyond organic, and check out the bradkearns.com/shop page. That's my personal selection of favorite products for health, fitness, and peak performance. And here we go with the show. It may not be the workout itself or the succession of workouts that put you over, but what you did in the other 23 or 22 hours on those days. You need to compensate with the rest of your life behaviors to tone down your energy expenditure. Remember, you're constrained with how much energy you can output. Your work, your workouts, your social relationships, even your entertainment, because stress can be positive or negative. Anything that you're doing that is stimulatory, right? Stimulus in the environment is a form of stress. Hey, how about a backwards commercial? Are you ready? So, go to OrganifiShop.com and enter the discount code BRAD for 20% off your order. That's ORGANIFI shop.com. Why would I do something as silly as a backwards commercial? It's because I'm positive you have to try this stuff. Trust me, order some now. It's going to change your life. Organifi is an organic superfood supplement company. They're known for their greens. You take them when you travel, get all your nutrition. But I like their top secret, Organifi Gold, warm relaxation beverage. This is the single best tasting tea you will ever try in your life. So if you want something soothing, delicious, nutritious at the end of your busy, productive day, pour yourself a scoop of Organifi Gold. What's in there? Turmeric, the anti-inflammatory superstar, is the base. And then, listen to this, smooth coconut milk, cinnamon, ginger, lemon balm, and 2 super mushrooms. It's legit. It's delicious. Check it all out at OrganifiShop.com. And don't forget to put in B.rad for 20% off. Try Organifi Gold. If you're not totally satisfied, send it back to me, and I'll keep it. Okay, so we talked about the compensation theory and the constrained model of energy expenditure at a previous show. Now let's talk about what happens when you ignore this kind of stuff, don't care, turn a blind eye, and try to burn the candle at both ends, ignoring your maximum limit on daily energy expenditure, or if we take it in a big picture, your monthly or annual energy expenditure. If you try to push too hard and go in too many different directions with your fitness goals, your high energy workplace, oh my gosh, everything can fall apart. Yes, and we have that pattern happening frequently in modern life. So I have some thoughts from my man, Joel Jamieson, who had an excellent appearance on the Get Over Yourself podcast. So search through the archives, one of the early shows. So this would be combining insights from the compensation theory, the constrained model of energy expenditure, and what Joel talks about as recovery debt. You can learn more about his methods at 8weeksout.com. That's the number 8weeksout.com. That's like 8 weeks out from a title bout, because he works with MMA fighters and has revolutionized training in that sport, where in the old days the fighters used to spar all the time and practice fighting over and over in practice instead of train like sophisticated athletes. They would leave a lot of their fight, so to speak, in the practice session, as we see in many other sports too, especially the endurance sports. Training too hard, leaving it out there on the road instead of on the race course. So when you are operating in this recovery debt, burning the candle at both ends, trying to exceed that total energy expenditure ceiling, your immune system starts to feel the pain, feel the brunt of that. It operates with a skeleton crew. The homeostatic mechanisms that control inflammation start slacking off. Muscle repair processes become delayed, and you teeter on or over the edge of breakdown, burnout, illness, and injury. Those are my favorite big four to recite in order. Yes, you're risking breakdown, burnout, illness, and injury when you burn the candle at both ends. Then, what do we do when this happens? We chalk it up to working too many hours that week. We chalk it up to doing a few too many workouts that week or that month. However, the true instigator of your demise is insufficient attention to recovery. So it arguably, right, it may not be the workout itself or the succession of workouts that put you over, but what you did in the other 23 or 22 hours on those days that put you down. So the body likes to be pushed hard and challenged and extended out to higher levels of performance. But when you challenge your body with whatever, if it's a strenuous, grueling week at work where you're putting in a lot of hours or you're putting in more miles than usual out on the training zone, you need to compensate with the rest of your life behaviors to tone down your energy expenditure. Remember, you're constrained with how much energy you can output. So the athlete, like I referenced my story in the previous episode, when I was training hard all day, hey, I survived. I did it, right? I put up the numbers, but I didn't do much with the rest of my life. I just didn't have the energy to go building fences, digging ditches, or working in a high energy workplace for 10 hours if I was training for 5 or 6 hours a day. And I think the hard driving type A's kind of ignore this insight in favor of making the flawed assumption that different forms of stress, therefore, complement each other or somehow don't push you over the edge because half of your stress comes from your ambitious fitness regimen and the other half comes from the workplace. And then the third half, get it? Like Yogi Berra. He said baseball is 80% mental and the other half is physical, something like that. Anyway, your stresses come from an assortment of sources in modern life, but they all weigh down the same side of the scales of justice, right? You know, the blind lady with the two scales that she's holding in either hand. So if you envision the scales of justice, one side stress and one side is rest and recovery. Your work, your workouts, your social relationships, even your entertainment, because stress can be positive or negative. Anything that you're doing that is stimulatory, right? Stimulus in the environment is a form of stress and then needs to be countered with low stress or restful activities. So if you go out for a stroll into the field and watch birds with your binoculars, you could probably count that on the rest and recovery side of the scale. The same would be the case for the amazing, wonderful insight of rebound workouts. These are these specially designed workouts, brainchild of Joel Jamieson, where you get your butt into the gym, even if you're tired, stressed, sore, stiff from previous hard work. And if you do a specially designed workout, it can actually speed your recovery in comparison to sitting on the couch. Amazing modern insight that I never even considered back in the day and wish I'd known that. And I have, I think, a couple shows dedicated to that concept of rebound workouts where you go in there. So briefly, you're just getting the blood flowing, you're stretching, you're doing foam rolling, you're possibly doing some very brief bouts of high intensity. As a matter of fact, yes, even on a rest day or recovery day. So let's say you sprint on the bicycle for 10 seconds and then you make a concerted effort to relax and lower your heart rate with a prolonged recovery period. And by spiking the stress response, spiking the sympathetic response with that 10-second sprint, then you trigger a compensatory parasympathetic reaction during the minute rest period, and you're deep breathing and you're focusing perhaps on your heart watch, trying to get the number down lower and lower, and you develop this skill that you can access any time to lower your stress levels. So if you do this rebound workout in the gym and you get used to doing, let's say, 6 sprints on the exercise bike, low impact or no impact is best, 10 seconds, lasting 10 seconds, and then chill for at least 60 seconds afterward, you can implement the same strategy when you're at work and hang up the phone from a stressful phone call, and you can feel your blood pressure, heart rate, and other sources of stress kick in. You can take control again, stimulate parasympathetic function with methodical deep breathing, and lower that heart rate, raise that heart rate variability score right there when you're sitting in the workplace. Oops, okay, Mr. Big Shot is listening. Ms. Big Shot thinking, no, this doesn't apply to me. I'm a high energy person. I can go all day till I drop, get up the next day and do it again, put in awesome workouts, kick butt in the workplace. Guess what? If you feel like you're one of those precious chosen few that can cut corners with sleep hours, that you can stay hyper-connected and suffer no ill effects, but be the fastest text responder in the land, generally perform and have a massive energy output at all times, you are likely achieving this due in part to the overproduction of stress hormones, overstimulating the fight or flight response. Because when you kick into fight or flight mode, when you kick into sympathetic dominance, indeed, you have increased energy levels, increased alertness, increased endurance, your go. The energy feeds off the energy, it seems, and you can sustain this for sometimes long periods of time. Years, decades, maybe days. Other people are more sensitive and need their ups and downs. But what's happening when you overstimulate the stress response is you are looking at long-term repercussions with the suppression of immune function, the suppression of inflammatory control processes, all due to chronic overproduction of stress hormones caused by these environmental stimuluses that we face every single day. So the moment you leave the parking lot and enter the front door at work, you kick into high stress mode because of all the stimulus. Now, you might enjoy it. You might thrive on it. It might be exciting for you to appear in court as a trial lawyer every single day and get up there, and you don't feel the ill effects of breakdown, burnout, illness, and injury when you're making your case. Then at some point, whether it's weekend, whether it's vacation time, when you're finally able to unplug and your body finally stops overproducing or chronically overproducing the stress hormones, that's when you kind of fall apart and crash and burn. So if you're in this pattern now as a warning sign, and you make it through 5 days a week, cranking and having that alarm blast you every single morning, getting up and going, being super mom and meeting the morning workout obligations, and then off to the busy day with school kids or at work, and then you get to the weekend and you're just fried, or even if you get to evening time and you get home at 8:30 p.m. and you're just fried on the couch and trending toward high sugar treats, because that's what happens to the body when it gets depleted. It wants that quick energy in the form of sugar and then exacerbates your problems. If you have any of these symptoms, oh boy, let's put up a red flag right now and see if you can make some wholesale lifestyle changes in order to get out of these danger zones of the burnout pattern. And I'll reference my athletic experience where I would have these amazing phases of training that would last for 6 weeks or sometimes 3 months, where I just go every single day, feel fantastic, get in better and better shape, no complaints of stiffness, soreness, feeling burnt out, feeling unmotivated. And then it would seem like I fell off a cliff. So I'd go, travel to a distant race, perhaps get my ass kicked because the fatigue was accumulating and I didn't realize it until the gun went off and I was on the starting line and asked to really dig deep and ask for reserve tank performance that just wasn't there. And then I'd come back and have these down periods that would last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe even 6 weeks, where I just didn't feel sharp and there was something missing. And this is sort of the aftermath of being bathed in stress hormones for a prolonged period of time. No bueno. And if you continue to cycle through these patterns, like the work week and then the burnout weekend, or the high hours at work for an entire season of tax preparation, and then going to Hawaii for 9 days thinking that's going to balance out 5 months of extreme work patterns, what's going to happen is that the years and decades go by, and then you're going to be more and more vulnerable to disease processes because you've been living out of balance for a long time. That out of balance defined as chronic overproduction of stress hormones. I had an interesting guest on the Primal Blueprint podcast named Dr. Michael Platt, and he wrote a book called Adrenalin Dominance. So go check out that podcast, check out the book. But he is contending that the root cause of virtually every mental health condition, depression, anxiety, are prominent record rates in modern times. Even the more severe mental illnesses, he is claiming, is driven by at the core adrenaline dominance, or overproduction of adrenaline, also known as norepinephrine, technically. So when you're overproducing and into these stress hormone patterns, you may appear to have adrenal burnout, adrenal fatigue. These are terms that are commonly used for people that present with these symptoms, one of them being low salivary cortisol levels. But the contention by Dr. Platt is then when you test salivary cortisol and it's low, it's a symptom of actually adrenaline dominance rather than adrenal insufficiency. Because when you're adrenaline dominant, you shut down superfluous metabolic processes such as immune function, such as circulation to your hands and feet. So that symptom of having cold hands or cold feet is also a sign of adrenaline dominance, and also sending less cortisol to the salivary glands, because that's also deemed to be unnecessary. Things like digestion, successful digestion, things like that. When you're in survival, fight or flight mode, you're just trying to liquidate your assets, as Dr. Tommy Wood says, and deal with the immediate issues at hand, such as your busy, stressful day. So it was an interesting spin on that. In the show, he talks about his seemingly miracle solution of rubbing progesterone cream on your skin. This is a common treatment method for postmenopausal females who stop producing progesterone. And what it does is it blocks estrogen. It actually blocks insulin and also adrenaline, according to Dr. Platt. So when you can heal or correct adrenaline dominance with this progesterone treatment, it offers a compelling idea to try to heal. And it's even for males, even though progesterone has been a female predominantly a female treatment method, he claims that males around age 50 stop producing normal levels or stop producing progesterone, and this leads to estrogen dominance. Remember, I said progesterone blocks estrogen, so you start to become more estrogen dominant, producing more insulin, and guess what is symptomatic of that? That's right, the Spare Tire Club. Welcome 50 plus to the spare tire world. And as I've said in books and in other episodes, when you accumulate a little bit of spare tire, that would be visceral fat around the midsection, this sets you up on a disastrous, slippery slope to make that spare tire get bigger and bigger, because the spare tire, the visceral fat, is an organ unto itself that secretes inflammatory chemicals. They're called cytokines. It secretes inflammatory cytokines into the bloodstream. And so you're in an inflamed state because of your little bit of spare tire. And when you're inflamed, estrogen dominant, and producing too much insulin, guess what? You get a bigger spare tire. So fighting this battle, the spare tire battle, is extremely urgent for males as they get into the advanced years. And of course, the females have all kinds of considerations and concerns for postmenopausal. So just an interesting tidbit that might interest you in listening to that show. And of course, we'll get into this further because we want to fight that battle successfully. For now, watch out for those overstress patterns. And when you think you're superhuman and you're not even tired after that transcontinental jet travel and the workout you did at the hotel gym, and then getting up the next, right when you get home, and getting up at 6 a.m. the next morning for your spin class. Yeah, take a deep breath and realize that sometimes your intuition, your logical brain, might see a necessary rest period coming, even when you feel great. And oh my gosh, that was the greatest growth experience of my career as a professional athlete, when I could apply that higher level reasoning to my training decisions rather than just operating on lower brain power of animal instinct. I feel great. Let's go. I'm going to chase that guy on the bike path because he looks like a geek. That kind of mentality where you're just burning energy indiscriminately. Like a dog is a great example. My dog will run himself into the ground with his tongue hanging out. And then if a squirrel appears up ahead, he'll sprint again and then be exhausted all day long. Probably not sustainable, especially for a human. Hey, thanks for listening to The Breather Show. Dun, dun, dun. Thank you for listening to the show. We would love your feedback at getoveryourselfpodcast@gmail.com. And we would also love if you could leave a rating and a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. I know it's a hassle. You have to go to desktop iTunes, click on the tab that says ratings and reviews, and then click to rate the show anywhere from 5 to 5 stars. And it really helps spread the word so more people can find the show and get over themselves, because they need to. Thanks for doing it. Let's talk about probiotics from Integro Health. Do you want me to sing the messages? Nah. But probiotics are an extremely important concept. Hopefully you're all in on the values, the benefits of nourishing a healthy gut microbiome so you can flourish in life. And that's the name of Integro's product, Flourish, a unique, extremely potent, living liquid probiotic. Yes, it's liquid form. How is it different from other probiotics we usually see in pills? This is the message from Integro. Microbes continue to thrive and metabolize in their own milieu. Do you like when companies use the word milieu to describe their product? I do. These include short-chain fatty acids, bioactive peptides, amino acids, enzymes, and minerals. The liquid base makes it acid stable, so microbes can survive the stomach environment and transit to the lower GI tract for integration to give you a healthy gut microbiome. There's 11 different strains in this thing, carefully hand-cultivated in the laboratory with precision to deliver 8 billion total CFU. Why take probiotics? Come on, you have to ask. It's going to strengthen your immune function, reduce systemic inflammation, the root cause of all disease, improve digestion, promote bowel regularity, relieve gas and bloating, get you going again after illness or antibiotic use. That's me, because I first got this shipment the very day I returned home from a Mexican vacation and had a stomach illness once again. What a bummer. So sad, because I love going down south. But I needed to repair and return to action quickly. So I started guzzling this stuff and had a wonderful return to health. I'm a very enthusiastic user and will be over the long run because I need all the help I can get. I don't know about you. When we're talking about our routine usage of antibiotics, the stress we put on our system and in the environment every single day, I especially notice my gut health is compromised when I engage in overly intensive athletic training, have trouble recovering. My gut is the first thing to go. So this is my go-to product, the Flourish probiotic in liquid form. Try it yourself. I love the delicious root beer float flavor. Just kidding, man. This stuff is no funny business. This is the real deal. It's very potent. It tastes fine. It goes down okay, but no root beer float flavor. Sorry. Take it. You'll love it. Go look at integrohealth.com for more information and to order shipped directly to your door in its unique liquid form. Flourish!